Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your week ahead tarot with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit that subscribe button. If you are already a continued subby, you know I love you for it. With that said, if you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can do so on the website addressed below. And before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So let's have a look, see what the week ahead has in store for you. So for your before we get into that, your key to the week, you have the Strength card. This is a week where you are really paying attention to what is taking place at the deeper levels of yourself. This is a very powerful time for Sagittarius. You guys have been going through huge changes, huge shifts that we've seen just in the last few weeks, and it's going to continue, because if you haven't seen it, please check out your July 2020 Taroscope. It's really interesting with the stuff that's coming up. There's just a lot taking place for you guys, and the fact that you have the Strength card as your key to the week means you really are paying attention to the changes that are happening for you and within you at those deeper sort of levels. Now the other part of this is the Strength card tends to see you really aligning with your physical body. So this week you could be really paying attention to what is going on within you, what is going on, you know, on a spiritual level, but also on a physical level. This could be where you're really starting to build that mind-body connection and really feeling things very powerfully, very viscerally through your entire being. This is going to be a powerful week for you guys, and it looks like you're really getting to grips with what your heart really wants from you. So when we talk about in your heart of hearts, what is it that you truly want? Now this week, Sagittarius, your emotions, like all of ours, you know, just off the back of a solar eclipse in Cancer at the 0 degree, this week you could find that your emotions are very close to the surface. You could be kind of a bit like the Hulk this week, where you're just like a big walking, pulsing nerve. You know, everything could be, you could find that this week you're really, really sensitive. Your whole being could very much be dialed up to 11, right? So it's really important that you're very careful and gentle with yourself this week, because you're going to be super sensitive, and it's really important that what and who you surround yourself with is of the highest caliber energy. All right, so for your actions and options, you have the 2 of Cups. For those of you that are partnered, for those of you that are in relationships, your relationship is blessed this week. This is where you are going to find comfort. It's where you're going to find peace. It's where you're going to find solace. It's where you are going to find true connection, right? So for those of you that are partnered, married, you know, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, all the rest of it, your relationship is going to help you sail through this week. For those of you that are not partnered, this is the week for you to start thinking about the connections that you do have in your life. Pay a lot of attention to your connections this week. Who drains you, who builds you up? And don't get me wrong, it's human to reach for a life raft. You know, when we're feeling it, we all get a bit grabby, and we all get a bit sort of like, you know, our inner child comes out. That's what I've been saying to everyone as well. Your inner man, or you know, me and my ex used to say, like, oh, here we go, the man child is out. And it's the same for all of us this week. If your man or woman child comes out, nurture and nourish them. And this is why I say it's really important that you pay attention to the people that you're around or surrounded with or connected to this week. For you guys especially, just because of all of the stuff that's going on and because of the amount of sensitivity that you are going to have. I think actually, just from what I've seen in the cards and what I'm kind of feeling about, you know, with the astrology, because you guys have just had the lunar eclipse with the conjunct the South Node in your sign, right? So this, on the other hand, and this will have been the solar eclipse that's taken place in Cancer will be your 7th house. So partnerships, relationships, right? You're going to be very sensitive to this stuff. So this week, if you find that there are certain people that you just can't be around, or maybe you think to yourself, do you know what, I can't go to work this week. Now, I'm not saying, you know, chuck a sickie for an entire week, but if you genuinely don't feel up to it, find a way to extricate yourself from any situation that you know is going to be too much. You are too sensitive and you have too much, your energy is too porous and too sponge-like this week. So it's really important that you look after yourself. I cannot stress that enough. Pay attention to your connections this week. For your communications and conversations, you have the Ace of Wands. This week, you are supposed to channel all of the words, all of the information, all of the stuff that is coming through. You may find that in conversation, you are literally reading people. You might find this week that you're super sensitive, super psychic. You might find that this week you're speaking words and people are like, okay, who told you that? Like, because I haven't told anybody that. You could be very, very deeply piercing the veil of people's lives this week. The words that you are speaking could be prophecies around people's lifescapes. So be very careful about what you voice. I'm sorry to say, because, you know, usually I say to everyone, like, you know, inject as much humor as you can into everything. This is not a week to say things in jest. And this is something that is a very old tenet. That you shouldn't jest about things that you would never want to happen. Like, you know, when you say like, oh, knowing my luck, and you say it as a joke, but this week that kind of thing could be a manifestation. This could be a throwdown. That's what I in one of the branches that I used to study, they were called throwdowns, where you would say something and unintentionally you would have set that chain of events into motion, and before you know it, it's manifested. This is a week to be very careful with your words, because they literally are spells pouring from your mouth. Whatever comes to you, write it down. This is a great week for you to journal. It's a great week for you to blog. It's a great week for you to do some inner work, some shadow work. It's a great week for you to do some ancestor work. Brilliant for all of that kind of stuff. If you are partnered, this could be a great week for something, you know, something like sex magic, or, you know, whatever you're into or not into. I'm just throwing things out there that kind of come up. Now, for your money and materials, you have the Fool card right next to the Ace of Swords, right underneath the Two of Cups. This is a very powerful week for your money and your finances. Now, the beauty of this is, it's almost like the universe says, I know you've got so much else going on at the moment, so I'm just going to give you and make sure that you have what you need. All of the things that you need financially this week are going to be met. It's kind of like the universe is saying, because you've got so much else going on, I'm going to give you a free pass here. It looks like you're welcoming in some sort of financial windfall, some sort of financial blessing could be showing up for you. Maybe some expense that you had this week is taken care of or covered by an outside party. The chances are, though, with these, you might not see who it is. It might be somebody that just kind of swoops in, you know, like one of those things where you're at the supermarket and the person behind you says, look, I'm going to pay for that. And then they just say to you at the counter, like, oh, it's been covered. And you're like, what? But what do you mean? By who? It could be one of those things, you know, it could be something really mundane like that, or it could be something bigger, but it looks like somebody behind the scenes is taking care of one of your bills or something like that. So that's really exciting. For your health this week, you've got the Fool card, your nervous system, right? Along with your energy levels, everything is just dialed up, super sensitive this week. So really, my advice, especially because I think Neptune is retrograde now, during the Neptune retrograde, the bath is your best friend, right? Have a good long soak in the tub, you know, bubble bath, bath salts, Epsom salts. I love Epsom salts. They're just, they work wonders. It's a really good way of getting some extra magnesium into your body, which will help you sleep. Anyway, I digress. Home looks wonderful. For some of you, you might be welcoming in, for a select few of you, this could be a very fertile energy, so be careful if that's not what you want. For some of you, I feel like this could be you welcoming in a new pet. Or a new animal of some sort, so just something for you to think about. Now, for your love and relations, you have the Moon card. So you and your partner could be, for those of you that are partnered, to the outside world, it could seem a little bit codependent, and I don't think it's that at all. I just feel like this week you're going to want each other's company more than anyone or anything else. You are nurturing, in all of us, our man slash woman child is going to be out this week in full force. So I kind of feel like you and your partner this week are just going to be like, you know what, we just want to shut the curtains and the doors and leave the outside world to the outside world this week. There's nothing wrong with that at all. For those of you that are single, this could see you very pensive about relationships. It could see you really taking stock of relationships that you've been in previously. For some of you, this might be you coming to the conclusion that, wow, you know what, that person was actually no good for me and I thought that they were. And then vice versa as well. For some of you, you could be looking back at someone that you thought, actually, you know what, that person was really crap for me. But then you realise, actually, you know what, look at what I've learned from them. You know, even if the situation at the time wasn't very nice, you're seeing it through or with different eyes. All right, so it's going to be an interesting week and a very deep week for you guys. Again, you know, it seems to be that there's just a lot taking place for you guys, especially on an internal level, because in many ways you are leveling up. And I really feel like in order to go to some of the levels that I feel like Sagittarius is about to reach, and it's interesting because when I did the 2020 videos, the Sagittarius video just exploded. I was gobsmacked by the view count on it. I had no idea what it was that I'd done in that video that made it so popular, but it seemed to be huge. So maybe go back over that and see if there are elements that you can pick out that you think, yeah, you know what, that kind of tallies up with where I'm at, because it looks like you guys are going through some really massive internal shifts. And because you're doing that sort of work on that kind of deep sort of internal, spiritual, mental, physio, psychological sort of all of those levels of self, it means that you are being prepared or ready for all of this download of new energy, new understanding, new wisdom, and ultimately new personal power. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Take care, and I'll see you soon.